Good morning. It is Wednesday. I'm Jason DeRusha. Welcome to our CBS News Minnesota Morning Update. Just remind you, we've changed the name of our streaming service from CBSN to CBS News Minnesota. Why not? We're CBS News. Let's do it. How about the weather? It's cold, really, really cold. I think if you're looking at your phone weather app, this is why you come to us. Because yes, the high today is 22, but you're not going to experience it until 8 o'clock tonight. So it is going to be another very cold day. Right now it's 16 below air temperature. It's just absolutely brutal out there. And so it's not going to be warmer anyway until later tonight. So just be aware of that. It is very, very cold out there. And that's going to be the deal for a bit. Let me show you some of the impacts of that on the roads. This is a major delay right now. We can take a live look at our traffic camera, maybe. What do you guys think? There we go. Here's 494 at 7th Avenue. This is in the South Metro. So we're right by the river, not too far from downtown St. Paul here. And this is just this backup. Let me show you a couple of cameras here, how bad it is. 494 in Maxwell. So this is just an absolute train wreck because of a spin out. We've had spin outs and backups and delays all over the Twin Cities. Right now, looking at our traffic maps as I'm just bopping around to give you a sense as to what we're seeing out there, you know, it's just delay city. Why don't I give you a look at the overall map there? See, that's another one of the kind of sideways spinouts we're seeing. 694 on Main Street. This also near the river. So you have a little bit of moisture in the air, especially on bridges and overpasses and anywhere by the river. And look at all of this, just like so many crashes. Mostly Minneapolis to St. Paul. So that's where it's focused right now. So anyway, it's just a reminder when you have these super cold temperatures, to be careful when you're out on the roads. And let's talk about the weather, because that's what everybody's been talking about, right? Katie had a really interesting graphic this morning that showed the month of January. And in fact, we've had so many days that have been above the average high. It actually ends up kind of even. We're right about on average for the month, although today and tomorrow, the next couple days, will take us lower. I wanted to talk to you about kind of what your approach is when it's this cold. I hate to complain about it too much, right? And maybe you go escape. Maybe you go to Como Zoo. Maybe you go, look at this, the tropics there at the Como. Isn't that nice? Yeah, you can feel the warmth there, the sun coming in. You know, outside it's 12 below, but inside it's really, really nice, about 80 degrees and humid. The sloth, that's Chloe, just loving it. You know, there's a 90-degree temperature differential between the indoors and the out. And we're asking, like, do you go out and embrace the cold? The Great Northern Festival launches as its kickoff tonight, a month of celebrating outdoor events. Winter Carnival starts this weekend. Are you an embrace the cold person, or will I catch you inside the tropics at Como Zoo? Are you hibernating, or are you embracing it? Give us an example. Let us know on Facebook. We'll share some of your feedback coming up. Making news today, the vaccine mandate extends to ticketed events. You may not have realized this because in Minneapolis and St. Paul, you do need proof of vaccination to go to a restaurant or a bowling alley, but they gave a 1-week delay for ticketed events. So if you're going to a sporting event, wild game, maybe the next couple weeks at the X or a Timberwolves game at Target Center, you will need to show proof of vaccination. So there's a 1-week difference between when it started for bars and restaurants. You also can show proof of a negative test. It is challenging because you have to go to either your doctor or a state lab or a private lab to get tested. It can be rapid or PCR, and it has to be within 3 days. So, you know, usually if you go do the spit test at the state lab, it takes a while. You just can't do the at-home thing. They're not going to take it. It's got to be a lab test result. As for vaccination requirements, you can show the physical card. You can show a picture of it. That's what I have, a picture of my card, that I have an album in my phone that just says vaccine, and I show that. You can use the state's online, it's not the state's app, it's another app called Docket that the state is feeding information to, and that has your flu shot and tetanus and all sorts of stuff in there too. So lots of options for you there. People, stop being dumb. Stop it. Stop running your car with your kid in it or your pet in it. It doesn't matter if you're going to do it for a minute. It doesn't matter if you're just going to run in. Lock your doors. Do not run your car. So many cars are being stolen, and almost all of them are because people are warming them up. You're being dumb. You're being dumb. Another dog stolen in the back of a car. It's awful. The owner freaks out, of course. That dog, the first one you saw, was found and safely returned. The car's still missing. But last week, remember Kua? That puppy, still missing. We don't need the cops looking for your dog because you kept your car running. There are other things to worry about. Since Sunday, 11 vehicles were stolen in St. Paul, and 7 of them were running and left unattended.
We see it happen early in the morning. We see it happen in midday. We see it happen in the afternoon, and especially at night. So there's really no safe time to start your car and go back inside.
Can you tell I'm over it? I'm over it. Enough! Don't leave your kids in the car and run it. Obviously, police saying, look, being cold in your car for a couple of minutes is certainly better than a day or a week without your car. And certainly those moments where you're wondering where your pet is or where your child, worst case scenario. So get it together. Less than a week into resuming his tour after nearly a 2-year hiatus, Elton John canceled 2 shows in Dallas. Elton tested positive for COVID. His publicist released a statement saying, the symptoms are mild. Said Elton John, fully vaccinated and boosted. Those shows will be rescheduled. Elton does have 2 stops planned in St. Paul at the end of March, and so he should be good to go by that. SAT college admissions test. Remember, did you take the SAT? Bubbles, filling in the bubbles over and over, 3 hours long, number 2 pencil, no calculator. Rules are changing. This is not 1993 anymore. So, SAT trying to stay relevant, right? So you can use your own laptop. You still have to be monitored. This is how they did these tests during quarantine over the last year. So this will roll out throughout the whole system in 2024. People will be able to use calculators for the math section, and they're going to shorten the test. It was 3 hours long. They'll shorten it to 2 with more time per question. This is how kids are learning math in school. Like my kid is a high school junior, took the ACT, and you use a calculator, but just because you have a calculator doesn't mean that you know how to do the problem, right? So you make fewer math computation errors, but you still have to know stuff. The calculator doesn't solve these problems for you. So that is sort of the deal there. Minnesota I know. Gerald, you're incensed that they get to use a calculator. It's how they do it. It's how they do it. It doesn't make you understand math just because you have a calculator. It's going to be all right. Minnesota Vikings, it looks like they have their next general manager hire. We'll do this dance. Will they announce it today? Will they not? Will they agree? Will we get him? Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. This guy, very interesting background, comes from, I think he went to Stanford. He's like an analytics guy, and that's kind of where football's going. It's all the sports, much more modern. I bet he uses a calculator. Gerald, is that okay with you? The Vikings are hiring a head coach, too. Also worth noting, it's not an old white guy. Way to go, NFL! My gosh, usually they trot out, they're like, look, we interviewed some black people, and then they hire another white guy who's like the brother or the kid of some other ding-dong. So this is good. Good news. Nice to see that, and hopefully we get him. Legend of the Winter Carnival played out last night on the ice in St. Paul. King Boreas's Royal Guard facing off against the Volcanus Rex crew. Friendly hockey game. It's a fundraiser for Second Harvest Heartland.
Especially in winter, when food is hard to come by, this is a really good resource to give back to the community, to serve those who support Winter Carnival as well.
Game always ends in a tie. It's like the most Minnesota thing ever. How dumb is that? Oh, we all win. I'm fired up today. I don't know what's going on. Winter Carnival starts Friday night. Most events are at Rice Park. Most of it is free. How about Big Papi? This is great, right? We love this. David Ortiz going to Cooperstown. The Hall of Fame made the call. Here it is.
But you know that the baseball writers have elected you to the National Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yes! You know, you knew he was going to be in. You knew it. He knew it. Everybody knew it. It's still so cool. That moment has to be unbelievable. What a hitter, right? Just beloved throughout Red Sox territory. We're lucky to have him for a little bit here with the Twins. But off he went, and he got to win 3 World Series. So you wonder what would it have been like if he stayed here. I don't know. It's different, right? When you win that World Series ring, couple MVPs, Silver Slugger, happy for him. Only one who got in, so kind of the steroid era still haunting some players, even though that's starting to move a little bit. A lot of voters are saying, like, well, you know, the truth is some of these players, the Roger Clemenses, the Barry Bonds, it was a steroid era. It's not like they were the only ones doing steroids, so they were the best cheaters in the game. Should they be in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. Probably. I think probably. We all know they did steroids. Barry Bonds was still Hall of Fame. I don't know. Here we go. What are we doing in this warm weather? Cold weather. Blue Star Mothers. Yeah, it's going to be a nice weekend, relatively speaking. We'll be in the 20s, embracing the weather, taking part in the Winter Carnival Parade. That's cool. Debbie Zenner, thank you. And thanks for your family's sacrifice, too. Kimberly Zeppelin, hubby and I just talking about this. We typically hibernate, but want to challenge ourselves next winter. Start trying to find ways to enjoy it. I like the long game you're playing, Kimberly. Next winter, you're going to give it a go. Thank you. Here's Mary. Dress for the weather. Bring your positive attitude. Go out and have fun. See, this Mary sounds like the kind of stuff that I say, and then I'm locking it down. Dress for the weather. Yeah, that's good. Okay, here's Bradley. I enjoy winter activities, especially snowshoeing, but yeah, when we're in the single digits and below zero, we're going to stay indoors. I get that for sure. Thanks, Bradley. Yeah, you can embrace the winter, but maybe choose not to right now. Cindy tends to hibernate. Tough time getting the bus or anywhere when there's a lot of snow and ice on the ground, for sure. Yeah, and this snow, because we kept getting those like persistent little inch or inch and a half, it's kind of crunchy out there, isn't it? Yeah, it's been so cold. Even people who did their best to try to clear the sidewalks, it's not great right now. Thanks for hanging out with us today here on our streaming service, CBS News Minnesota. Love spending this time together. I'll be back here with you again tomorrow at 7:30. News never stops here on the old streaming channel. We'll see you later.